Alright, hello. Oh, that's the one. Cool. Portal Universe. You seem to really know what you're doing, sir. Just at a glance, this looks really cool. You're using some of the in-game pieces to accomplish way more than I'm used to seeing on PS5. So I assume you watch a lot of content creators and just generally appreciate looking at things from guest perspective, especially with all of this rockwork over here. Some people build parks, some people build blueprints. I'm trying to find a balance where I can do both, but parks just take so much time. My level of detail is insane. And whenever I want to make a park, I need to have like frames in order to do it. This is not too difficult either. You got the general gist of the wheelchair access here too. I like that. Are all these coaches? Yeah, they're all guest spawners. I love that. You just put them at different points. There's a little clipping, but that's fine. Guests are used to doing that. This is so cool. Hold on. I love these facades. They're like some of my favorite things to make in game. And I have one myself that's like realistic. If you happen across it, Viking window 3, it's like really tight, but you can scale this up. And I don't have a scaling mod, so this will work wherever. But like, if you need to hide where staff are going or something, this is a pure black texture that isn't affected by lighting. It just has a little tip for you. But I love the parking lot. It feels about as barren and open as you would want it. I feel like these lines might want to extend these out a little further potentially if you were thinking about it, because cars are usually a little longer. But I haven't seen every parking lot that exists, so I don't know, some might be like that. I like these little parking booths. Everything is almost homemade and took 130 hours. Only 130? That's pretty good. I love use of this light here. And that's a sign. Bro, that's so clever. So I was talking about it earlier with the arcade cabinets. Sometimes the text would have this like little visual glitching going on. From a guest perspective, I can still see this. If you don't want that to happen, you just nudge it ever so slightly up or down, and you won't see that anymore. And you can barely tell that it's overlapping in some areas. This is so cool. And specifically this, I can tell you worked hard on these. If you really want to elevate your building skill, and I don't know if this is intentional, like it only shows up when you get close, but LOD is a big problem for me in this game. I see you even have buttons back here that aren't showing up. Maybe that's just a copy-paste thing. I don't know for sure. But the farther away you are, the harder it is to make out the certain details that you have in builds. And this is one of those cases where, like, if I zoom in, it shows up as intended. But when I'm farther out, particularly here, I won't see those lines. So seeing things from different areas, everything is almost homemade. So this is one of the few that it isn't. That makes sense. The parking things are not yours. That is a-okay, buddy. Even though they're not necessarily yours, something you can do is come in here and fix it up a little bit for your usage. But either way, that's just generally a good choice for a parking lot. What is up there? Is that outside the park border? Wait, there's a chairlift. Holy, that's crazy. cranes are insane. I have to take a closer look. Yeah, of course. I think these are tips that sometimes you'll see in YouTube videos, but they kind of become an afterthought more than something that people focus on. I mean, the biggest thing I see is texture overlap and looking stupid. Like it's constantly glitching, but this is a great idea. For a Planet Coaster fantasy park, you've absolutely nailed it here. Like, everything feels like it has so much care put into it. Like, I really appreciate this gift shop, even with the lights up top. And, you know, up here, you can see some of that thing that I was talking about before. You might have a little bit of a line if you look too closely, but ultimately it's better than seeing that visual glitching because it grabs your eye more than the alternative. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about that now because if I notice it more throughout the park, you already know how to fix it. So, but this is a great gift shop. It feels like super cluttered, which is exactly what you want for something like this. I love the use of portals for skylights. Like, portal everything. And the fact that the Viking set already has this one piece means that it's very economic for your usage in the PlayStation Park. Oh, one thing I did want to say. You probably already know this, but here at the corners, if you go, and you probably already know this, you can turn off some curbing. It's a really minor detail, but if you go into this menu, you can turn off curbs. And then you won't have that piece on the corner if you don't want it there. I mean, I noticed it was here for some corners and it wasn't for others, so... You know, just making sure your paths are tight is another level of detail and, what is it? Polish that most people don't bother with, but goes a long way to make your parks feel like, you know, they've had so much more thought put into them than usual. I assume you don't have, like, path stamps here where I could just walk through this. That's fine. If you're not seeing guests walk through it, then that is perfectly okay. But I love the planter idea, and it seems you have some park music playing in the background here. I just have it off by default because I play music on stream. And also I'm usually listening to YouTube videos otherwise, but love the centerpiece. The little backstage, yeah, exactly. You even got portals like all the way clear around the building too. Like you didn't leave any inch of it. Like, I would guess what's the word? Undetailed, I guess, or barren. So I'm not sure if you've known this before, but this restroom block can be recolored. So you can recolor the top piece. You can recolor the tile. Whatever you want, and then the ground piece too. What you can't recolor is the grout in between each of the tiles, but you might want to know that. I don't know what you would color this to, but that could go a step further. But this is a sick looking block for starters. Although for realism, I notice a lot of people, what they end up doing is they make a whole bunch of space that you can't actually see inside back behind the restroom, because I don't know about you, but if I had to go, like there's no door here, I just like sit down or use it like straight on. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Thinking about it from an optics perspective like that can really help you have believable looking restrooms in other facilities. But you have a good core going for it. This is an awesome centerpiece. I like this. And let me just try something real quick. I want to see. Oh yeah. So if you wanted to, you can get guests to respect this a little bit more. And I see you even have a little path at the bottom too. We can just make that go away if we want. Now it looks extra sick. And you can even take this like around a little bit. Guess they're gonna freak out a little because I'm updating the path and pathfinding. But now it's at the borders, and when you want to clean it up, you just turn off curbs and go in real quick like this. I have foundation on or off, so I'll turn that back on so that it kind of blends. Huh? And there you go. You put light. Oh, true. I gotta check it out at night. We'll raise that just a touch. Make that shield look a little shinier. I do think I'm gonna do one pass at day and then come back through everything at night, if that's okay. But, like, generally having this here is awesome. As, like, a bellwether for what's to come. You even got a little entertainer there, I see. Abyss. Oh, that's cool. I love these. Seems you're still working on this third area. Hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm loving the lights. I will comment about them later. Is that okay? Real quick, I'm just gonna have a look-see in the Viking area. Sounds good. Sounds good. You did good here. This looks pretty respectable. Are these chains? I think that's a default piece. But if it were me, I would find a way to make this look metal. Because if fire were to be there in real life, it would catch in like 5 minutes. But besides that, the shape of these lampposts is really good. And I know that's a lot to go through because you have so many of them, so yeah, I'll defer to you on that. It's up to you. So much in your park is already fantastical, so it's really up to you. I love that you've used rocks to kind of hem everything in here. This is so cozy. I love this. You've got the pillars at the corners, which I like. Something I do potentially is like a little trim in the corner to add a little rim or molding. It would be tricky to get up to this corner because you wouldn't have a whole lot of room to do much more. The problem with my way of thinking is that it completely ignores the limit for consoles. So you can take or leave any of the advice I'm giving you here. I think this might be one of the in-game toilets, and it looks perfectly fine here. Like, Viking already is a pretty good solid set. Love the pond. This is a great fountain. Don't know where the water's getting sourced from, but it looks great. It's made by you. Okay. Cool. I think there might be a Viking piece from the campaign somewhere, where if you open it in a sandbox park, you can save it. I don't know if you played through Career, but that's a little trick from me to you. They have some really cool things there, but like good stuff. This looked very similar to something I've seen in campaign. Although I think the one over there has lights and doors on the sides and back. I know it's a pain in the butt if ever you wanted to move this, but as a bit of an idea, you didn't play in campaign. That's fine. Most people don't. I'm one of the few people that did. You can nudge this up and then maybe over or back somehow. And then you won't get that visual clipping nearly as badly on the sides. And then, of course, like along the front here. I'm not going to edit that. I think you know what to do. But what I basically just did, although this was all the same group, I touched this roof curve and hit this button, split object from building. Then I can move it around as I want to. Because, like, sometimes the gridded pieces don't behave well, so they need a little bit of encouragement. See, this looks good. I'm a fan of this, even though it's like somewhat wooden. Like the piece here makes sense. Good gulpy skin. I love some of the marketplace decals you've put around. There's an axe in the side of the building. That's awesome. You can go a step further and maybe even put like a decal in there to make it look like somebody's been doing target practice on the side of the building. Actually, I could show you how to do this, potentially, if you don't already know. Let's go over here. Decal. It's probably damage. So we'll take one of these. They're like really slender, easy to fit in. You can move it over right where the axe is, and then recolor kind of to what the wood looks like, or like a darker piece, and then dig this in a little deeper. Like, check that out, bro. Isn't that sick? Such a micro detail. What you could even do is like have a couple spots where you can tell this has happened before. And then like have them at varying intensities. And maybe vary it up a little too. Just a little idea. Like, I love using decals for stuff like this. It is quite literally in the name though, for damage, so it's not really a hack of sorts. It's just like using the pieces as intended. But recoloring stuff is what sells so many of the damaged pieces. You've got another centerpiece over here that I'm loving. You're a French guy. I got you. Probably like 8 hours ahead of me then, if I had to guess. So this is a chimney. I didn't even think to look earlier, but does this lead to anything? It does not. So that's a step that you could do at some point, is have a little fire inside. I know it would cut into the tables that people would be using. This is sandbox, right? Yeah, you're playing with unlimited cash, so you don't necessarily need to do this that way. You could cut out like 2 of these tables and put like a fire in the center leading up to the sky, and then this barrel planter up here makes sense. But like, even so, like, it looks sick from a distance. I wanted to know what was going on there. I like the waterfalls out back. That looks good. And just generally speaking, the boat looks cool. I wonder what that red piece is, though. Is that just an artifact from a different item? Oh, it's a lamp. I see. The least you could probably do here is recolor it so that it's not nearly as eye-catching. Like that. That way it just looks like a neat little stud. That's what I do with my some of my lighting. See, that's exactly the type of lighting you want. Looks so cool. Alright, let's have a look-see. Keep on going. This is a cute little area back here. I suppose you probably have some issues getting people to come back here. An easy way to remedy this is to set up maybe a restaurant nearby where people could eat at those tables, but I don't know for sure. You have many benches around too, so I guess you don't typically have problems with like eating food and just being around in general. I like the head on top of the Gulpy machine. I see a coaster. That looks like a... What coaster is that? Looks like a Giga of sorts. Even got a little meter bar here. Sick. I love this. Tracker of Folia. Oh! What's the name of that? It's like the air-powered coaster from RCT. I don't remember the actual name. I love these trucks are on a moving platform. Those are cool. I'm gonna have a look through this real quick, but in orbital cam so that I ignore the lines. Like, you've definitely hemmed it in. This feels claustrophobic, but that's probably what you're going for. This is a sick reveal. I love that. It's just a good piece in general, and I always look for ways to use it. Your use of these rocks when scaled up is, like, really smart, too, I should note. You even custom supported some stuff, I'm noticing. But I'm, once again, getting ahead of myself. Let's have a look here in the coaster. So much fog. Love that. Some netting. I wasn't expecting this, but it makes total sense here in this particular type of theming. Cool stuff with these guys. There's just so much smart usage of the Viking theming. I like it. You can even see the coaster from certain perspectives here too. When it comes through, I assume. This looks like a pretty long coaster. I'm excited. Good looking station. You really scaled up those lamps. But they look pretty decent too. We're gonna wait a second until the coaster comes back in the station and then I can hop on. Do you have a preference for which seats I can ride in? Is guest POV good, or do you like bumper POV? First? Oh, you like cinematic? Oh. Guess it's good. Okay. Never mind. I'm being stinky. I'm gonna wait a second until it dispatches. This is the same coaster model for Dodonpa at Fuji Q Highland, so... They're still covering their eyes somewhat. It's kind of strange. Whee! This is an insane element. That hang time is awesome. This is respectable profiling for somebody that's playing on PS5. Crazy roll. Everything feels relatively good, too. Transitions between certain elements might be a little snappy, but, like... the feeling of being hung up into your restraints is, like, all over in this ride. I like that turn. That feels great. I imagine you probably have one train on this, too. But yeah, just generally good. Good stuff. And are all of these custom? No, not necessarily. So what is this attached to? Is it just... oh, you brought the terrain up to the custom rocks. I see. That's what confused me somewhat. Good camera placement. I love that you even gave it a little stand. Hi, Doodoo. I did notice you came through. And board. Hello. Hello. I'm having a look at somebody else's park, but I didn't change this stream title, so you guys will have to get over it. But yeah, this feels great. Nothing much to see on the coaster, but that sometimes is all you really need. You just focus on what the coaster is doing in the first place. I don't know. Does Dodonpa run 2 train operations, or is it 1? Do you know, Board? I know you would. And I'm just going to keep on going while I wait for that answer. I think this is a staff building, I imagine. Yes, it is. It's the large one. Yeah, very cool. You don't know. You would hope to. I'll have to look this up later. I would hope so as well. Like, 1 train ops is abysmal, especially for that coaster. It only has like 10 people per train. Sorry, wifey needed me for a sec. Lost Mountain is up next. And I see you scaled up this overhang. I love what you've done here for the switchback queue. How is that done? Wow, interesting. Something I've noticed a lot of people do that I really want to implement in my parks is putting a little break here and have an area where you can see it could be chained up, but that requires a little bit of path shenanigans. Might be more pressure than it's worth, to be honest. I love me a good board slide skin. Seems like you really put the effort in to make this one look like it's well covered. So good on you there. A lot of people try to make use of this bridge underneath too. You don't always have to do that. I like where this water is, but I would wonder where it's going. Just as a bit of feedback. Also, interesting placement for where guests come in for this ride. Usually I try to make it as close to the entrance as possible. I don't think throughput is necessarily your concern though, so... Anywho. Got some facilities over here. I see you copy-pasted this one, which is good. Like, less work is good, as long as you can move stuff around. Why do multiple thing when one thing do fine? This is a shortcut into the next area, which I'm not going to look at from this area, because I want to check it out from over here instead. We can really appreciate this. Again, probably a similar thing applies for before. Guests could walk through this statue if they wanted to, so you can use a circle stamp delete right in the center to make it so that that kind of works out. This area be called Abyss. And I love this grid fence. It's good that you put a lot of it here. This seems to be a coaster. This is actually kind of breathtaking. There's a lot of purple going on. It feels like an entirely different park. And there's, like, your usage of water here too makes a lot of sense. Is that... That looks like a CGI coaster, but I can't tell for sure from this angle. This is a cool place. I love the concept of these little areas where you can just sit and enjoy like the views. Even though they're picnic tables, you don't necessarily need to be eating at them. And these are in parks all over the place in real life. You got it. It seems like you always have to add a little decal on top of the Gulpy machines. Just to like tie it in with the theming a little bit. Oh, we've got floating coral. A little hiccup here and there happens with every build. You even recolored some of these rocks too. So you did know that they can be recolored, but I like the generic purple coloring. I think it works well for here. Seems you're experimenting with some of the different colors too. Deep Monster Seems like you had a rock here at one point that this was attached to. Oh, wait. Maybe not. Maybe it's supposed to look like that. I do not know. I am not you. But that is a synchronized skin. You can see the queue from here. It's got a little cover so that you don't burn in the sun if you're waiting a long time. Makes a lot of sense. I like that you put the animatronic all the way up top. He's a little big for this ride. You can see a little clipping out of his tail. I don't know if he scales down any farther, but you could try that. See if that helps a little. But it just looks like a good choice for this ride. Kiddie coaster is cool. I will check it out. Did I pass it up? I may have missed the ride queue. I did. I am so sorry. This is the exit for the ride. Let me see. Where's the entrance? Oh, that's what that is. It's a kiddie coaster. Snooze ad. Abyssal mission. Let's have a look-see. Good use of rocks to kind of keep the queue together. We're gonna try and avoid looking at guests as closely as possible because they lag the game quite a bit. Oh. Very cool. I like this piece a lot too. I used it in my other park. What's that on the front? Oh, cool, it's like a little tank. I didn't realize this was a kiddie coaster at first. The colors threw me off, but it fits really well. We'll go in guest view since I think that's your preferred view. Or everything. Hold please, we'll wait for this coaster to go through. Is this the only coaster in the area? I feel like I should ask. No. Okay, cool. I think what I'll do for later, because Mr. Bezos is knocking, is I might snooze one more time before I get to that coaster, and then I'll take my break that I'm required to take contractually while we do a perspective on that ride. This is really pleasant. It feels pretty well grounded. It seems like your attractions that you're used to making have a tendency to be pretty well, like, down to earth and slow. It feels kind of like you have the guest experience in mind. They may not be like, oh, it does 2 laps. Good stuff. More coaster for your coaster. It's a relatively slow lift hill, but like it's designed for a family or children experience. So this is like little Johnny's first ride. Oh, I'll absolutely do the other coasters. I'm not going to be like taking off before I'm done looking at this park. And I feel like I have gotten the experience on this, so I am going to jump off real quick. This is where the exit is, and I saw it earlier, so let's go back to where I was. Again, sorry, I missed the queue. Should have noticed the sign, but it kind of blends in with everything else. It's the same yellow and purple that most of this area is made up of. Not that it's not fitting, it just didn't stand out to me for some reason. Okay, I legit have had this song in my head like all morning, so I'm gonna turn it up a little. I need to play Coral Island again. Like, so badly. I'm getting nostalgic for it. I know. Deep Monster, we had a look at that. We'll keep walking around here. A monsoon chute for this type of theme is perfect. Like, immaculate choice. Could not have chosen better. This looks good on the surface. Of course, something you could do is like basically open these doors somehow. The problem with the doors in game is that they always come on a frame. So if you wanted to swing them open, they would look really stupid. So I recognize that like what you're doing here is okay. A lot of people do it. They put doors over areas where guests go and the guests just clip inside the door. But something I have a little pet peeve for, and this is probably not something you can really control, is things like this being everywhere in people's parks. And you seem to have used it tastefully. And you're on PS5, so the piece limit kind of does matter for you. But for people that are playing on PC, I want people to open their doors. Like, make it look like guests actually go inside with minimal clipping and looks good from an optics perspective and when you're just, like, viewing the park in a different kind of way. Here we've got the next coaster. We've got plenty of lights coming through here, too. I am going to have a look over everything at night again, just to be sure. Good use of fog. I like this. And the amount of coaster interaction you have with the queue looks great from here. Oh, you haven't actually opened this yet. Very interesting. I'm gonna speed this up. We're gonna ride this thing. I like the aquarium. That's so cute. I need to do stuff like this a lot more for my parks. Actually, I should probably be taking notes for my area in my park soon. We'll get a ride on this. I'm gonna take my beer right back, and then I'm gonna give my thoughts when I come back. Sorry, it has to be done. But the tour's not over. I'll be going for at least another hour. There we go. Yay! Hello, I'm back. I had a little look at this while I was off refilling the legs, stretching the water. But I think just this layout, what you've done to it, the way it keeps its speed throughout the whole layout, it feels really smart and really well done. There's a little clicking between pieces, and that's normal if you're not building at like a 4-meter sort of way of building your coasters. But it definitely doesn't take nearly as much time to make. And this feels like your best work so far. I like it a lot. Now, I don't remember the name of this one. I need to check. But it feels really good. I can tell you got these coaster doors in. They're very nice too. You get to watch it open as the coaster goes through. Let's pop back over here, see the sign. This is Abyss 004. Cool. You got a little bit of clutter back there too, which looks good. You know, just adds a little bit. Coral splash. You can even see the coaster from this perspective too. That's very neat. as a little sightline. I can tell you're still trying to figure out how to make this work a little bit. There are some square top pieces that you can use for stuff like this, or maybe like a bubble roof of sorts. Generally speaking, when buildings are underwater like this, they need to look like heavy duty and pressurized, and they don't typically have these tapers because those are for rain. So maybe that's something you can consider if you're making more of this in the future. But this area seems like one of the most finished that you've built. Oceania. What's going on down here? Did I miss something? Oh, this is sick. It's a restaurant. You've got like 3 different counters in here. I love this. A little aquarium in the side too. Very nice. I love this. Feels really cool. I like the little pipes you have around too. It makes it feel like there's functional pieces around too. Like you even like recolored some of this so that it's not default. It stands out a little more from the rest. Gives you something extra to look at too. Draws your eye in a little more. Splash pads. Makes total sense in an area like this. You even have some of them turning off like some you might see in real life. Is it just the one? Yeah, okay. You could consider doing this in a different pattern using a sequencer, but that takes a little time to set up. This guy does not care. He has gotten wet and is continuing to do his job anyway. Turtle eggs for the tiny eye. That's super cute. I love the coloring on this. Tiny eye is one of my favorite rides to skin. I'm trying not to burn myself out on placing too many of them in a park. Let's have a look-see around here. See, this is something I would consider more finished from you. This looks like it makes sense relative to everything else. Although that door doesn't look like it'll open. But maybe you place that before you place the rocks and you just kind of moved on, which is okay. I didn't realize this before, but this looks so much like an ice machine. I think it's one of the submarine pieces, but it looks like you could open that up, take some scoops out, or take a bag of ice out. I don't know what purpose it serves here, but it looks like it fits just perfectly. I'm just having a look around to see the sights. And this is going back to the other area that I skipped out on earlier. A little transition. I think I've seen everything here. Really smart to put this huge body of water in the center so that it gives this feeling like the area is so much bigger than it actually is. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then this area I can tell is a work in progress. You don't even have it named at the entrance yet. But it seems like an adventure portion of the park. You've got a Eurofighter in here. More of that hang time. It's a launched variant too. That's super cool. What an insane first element. I love that. They visit the zones also. Do you mean over here? I'm not sure what you're asking for exactly. Seems like you're working on some stuff back here. What do you mean by zones? It looks like you're working on some dueling coaster concepts, which is cool. Adventure zones. Yes, I was just about to do that, yeah. See a little bit from guest view. I like the usage of moss there. It looks like it's almost glowing. If that makes any sense? Something I do maybe is tone it down a little. I think this is the default coloration, right? Yeah, it is. Moss can be recolored, which is a neat little hack for you. So if you want to blend it in a little bit better, you can still make it look exactly like moss, and it won't lose any of its spark. So you'd have to go back through and recolor all of that, which doesn't sound fun, but maybe it's something you can just take for the future. Not something you have to do immediately. Let's see. I assume somebody made that on the workshop that you put in. But that's just a cool spot to put it. Feels like something of a tiki. You know, your use of resort pieces to make this feel like an adventure area is cool. And I love the interaction that this coaster has with some of the path on the ground too. Oh, I see. You've used this piece repeatedly through the area. I mean, it doesn't look super bad. Not trying to bash your work here. I'm just thinking of ways that maybe you could improve or take away for when you want to eventually get back into this park. It's a lot of resort lights, but it's kind of holding together this switchback queue. And the main event, Le Coaster, starts with an incline roll, I'd like to say. Not incline, inline roll. It's like half barrel, half inline. It's interesting. I didn't get a name for this coaster, but maybe I can do that after I get off. Pretty sick first starting element. Good use of those lanterns too. Little brake run right there, or a block section. You love your rolls on this ride, huh? I guess that's what they do in real life too. I wouldn't know. I've only ever been to like Silverwood and Disneyland, so my knowledge is a little limited on this. This wave turn going back into the station is definitely not what I would have expected, but very interesting nonetheless. Good ride overall. Wow, look at that clearance. It's just barely making it. So what is this name? Oh, you just haven't named it yet. Feels pretty well themed. I like it. You can have a little waterfall here and there. I love your use of resort lights in amongst pieces where that would make sense. Looks like you have some spotlights down here too, because they're always on. Or maybe I'm just making things up. Nope, I got it. Cool. Yeah, it just adds a little bit of color to everything. Even during the day, because they don't actually have a night-only default, so it's something that's very interesting. What did I want to talk about for this ride? There's a little clicking on this downward slope, but maybe that was because the smoothing wasn't very nice to you. I know sometimes when I want to make rolls like this, it doesn't work out the way I want to, sadly. And while I'm smoothing, it just tells me, hey, you can't do that. Because why would it not do that? I love that you used the lighter pieces for here for clearance sake. That makes a lot of sense. These pieces are cool. I love this bridge. I think that's using the jetty pieces. Yeah, Viking jetties. There's no adventure pack in game, but it seems like you've done a lot to try and make it look like the adventure is still here, despite the adventure theme not coming from the first game yet. So good on you for that. We've also got a flume, which seems like it's taking a while. All the tracked rides started not dispatching nearly as often. I don't know what changed there. I might just have a brief look through because these tend to be very slow. But I love using these tikis for stuff like this too. Good eye. And of course you had to make it look like the overflow reservoir for the log flume ended up being slightly in the same channel as the water, which is a great thing that you've done. Absolutely perfect. I do the same thing for some of my blueprints. And over here we see a reuse of this tiki. It seems like it's even crumbling. There was a variant of it like this, which is awesome. It looks like the water was like eating away at it. That's kind of cool. You could also add a little waterfall bottom down here. Maybe set it under the water slightly, so that it's showing a little bit of splashies that are going on. I can tell you got a little more theming to do back here, but it's got this classic lift into a big drop that you see from the outside. And the fact that you used that temple piece as a drop like this, it makes so much sense. It's perfect. If it were up to me, I'd try to hide this overflow texture as much as possible. I wouldn't know how I would do that though. Maybe with like, I don't know why. The first thing that comes to mind is a canopy. There's a pirate canopy that looks like kind of rough like this. So the texture on the front is what I would want. So I just scale it up, insert it inside to kind of cover up over that. Of course, there are like fire braziers on the side, so I might be going against my old advice to try and not do that. But this is an option you can do, and you could cover up the sides up to where the rope is, just to kind of, you know, smooth things over a little bit so you don't see the waterfall clipping through down below. But yeah, you did say the flume's not finished, but it's got a good solid start. Splashdown here is unique. I want to see this. You still get slammed in that corner, but overall that's a decent run out. Feels like a really solid start. You got a good thing going here. And one more thing I wanted to look at is whatever was going on over here. Oh, this is the entire ride? That's so crazy. I have to try this. Oh, stop that. Holy. And then it slowly inverts back to the station. Just holds you in place. What a neat idea. This is almost like a flat ride level for a coaster. It's a shame the game doesn't recognize how insane this looks. I thought there was more to this from a distance, but this looks like something that someone made on the workshop. It's got some moving platforms somewhere. But you have a chairlift planned, so I imagine you're probably going to use this space pretty well. And then I see you have like a more modern area over here too planned. And you don't have all of it kind of worked out yet, but maybe once you do, you can let me know and we can have a ride on all this stuff. Unless you have anything else, I think that might be it, besides for the nighttime perspective. We've got nice, well-lit parking lot through here. Portal universe. Have a look-see inside here. Feels well lit. Using these lights is like perfect for gift shops. The night is so dark. Oh yeah, it is. But it means that the places you do add light really stand out. And wide open plazas like this make a lot of sense. I love this. You probably found it on the workshop, or maybe you just did it yourself. It doesn't look like it's too much, actually. But I love this backstaging piece. I just love the centerpiece. The variation of colors just really is striking. This workshop, got you. I think I may have seen it, actually. I see the Viking lights over here, actually, like, they make a lot of sense because just having little bits of flame or subtle orange lighting glows in certain areas goes a long way. Something you could potentially do is, if you're going to have doors like this, maybe having a little light with toned down fire or some sort of effect like that. Like lamps. That can kind of draw interest towards seeing that kind of stuff at night too. Let's see, is there anything I'm missing here? I like that you've lit up this area too from the bottom. Kind of makes it seem somewhat ominous and very cool. I wanted to see this station from earlier because these lights are pretty big. The bloom in here is a little much, but to be honest, you wanted something well lit, and it seems like you achieved that with all this. Sometimes I hide spotlights on purpose so that I get a well lit station anyway, although that's not necessarily the best for purposes of keeping something realistic, I guess. What do you have on the back here? Oh, you attached lanterns on the back. So basically chaser lights. That's really cool to see from orbit. Alright, let's keep on plugging along here. Good lighting on the centerpieces. It's exactly what you're going to want for something like this. And these flat ride lights are frustrating because you can't turn them off, but they seem tasteful for this area, actually. Even though you don't know where they're coming from. Ride just feels really well integrated. Let's check out the ocean area real quick. Abyss. This area just lights up at night. Just interesting for a place called Abyss. But this feels great. Like, you want focus on the corals and all that stuff. Not necessarily the track, and it feels very colorful for that. Some of these recolored rocks are awesome at night. They feel bioluminescent, which I think is probably what you're going for. Use of the resort props as like ocean creatures is really cool too. I do love that. And the fact that the lights even reflect across the path because of the type that it is feels like a good choice. It's like you built this land with nighttime in mind. This is an insanely well lit area though. If that were me, I would tone down this a little. That is not it. Where is the light? It is this, I think. Yeah, it just feels you build it at nighttime. It shows, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I would tone down this exit it feels like you're getting blinded the moment you get off the coaster. So I'm just showing you something that you could do. You could change this up a little bit. And even then, this feels a little bright, but like it's at least not going to flashbang you, I guess. So this whole thing, you could probably shimmy it down a touch, because when you come to these edges, you get the path flickering with the station platform. It happens like every time. You align to station grid and then it does that. So all you need to do is just move it down ever so slightly and everything tends to work out fine anyway. I honestly can't tell that anything changed up top here. But this is a really cool structure you made too. You used a power generator and then probably introduced a couple doors too. Am I right? Actually, the best way to tell is just to delete the thing. You added so much to this. Like, if I didn't know better, I would have thought that this is like a piece that Frontier put together. But this is like super well done. This is a great building. And even use of some of the resort lights. Or aquatic lights, actually. I get them mixed up sometimes. I like that. Kind of has the floodlight appeal, I suppose. This is sick. It looks like it's glowing. Go ahead. I can imagine you probably just spend like half your time watching the stuff in your park because it looks so cool. Because that's what I'm ending up doing right now. Oh, you know what happened with this exit? I bet you probably just took some of these lights from the main paths that are so bright, and you moved them over here without toning them down at all. Are you okay?
Dropping stuff on that step. I went to grab my phone and then knocked stuff over.
Oh, I see. Continuing to have a look at the rest of this. I think this is an in-game piece that Frontier put together. But it feels smart nonetheless. Actually, I think the one from in-game has like water leak pieces at the sides. But it's a smart arrangement nonetheless. Good stuff, using in-game pieces to make something really cool. And then of course we have the area over here. Goodness, this fire is crazy. Because this is marble, it reflects off the sides and it's just super overpowering. So something I do is when you recolor something, you get that as a recent. You can just click that and it tones everything down. That feels way better to me. A lot of people don't realize you can recolor fire. And you could go even further with this. Make it entirely black. And then you have a little bit of smoldering that you can use as like an effect texture that doesn't go very far. Actually, I could show you how that's used before. I just uploaded something to the workshop fairly recently. This was for Imaginaria, so Wix's big park. But on the inside here, like, it's very detailed on the outside. We're gonna ignore that and go right in. Because for this little area, I put a little fire and a bunch of, like, recolored moss to make it look like this is all ash. And then the fire on the inside is colored black. But this is what it looks like on the outside. So the smoke that's bellowing up looks like it's almost gone out. Or like smoldering, I suppose. It's a really neat detail that you can implement sometimes. And if you get a little distance on it, it actually kind of makes sense. So if ever you poke your head in here, you can see exactly what's going on. This wasn't designed to be like used as anything other than a centerpiece or prop, but I even went so far as to like do the same thing up here. So this chimney, I think that's just a rectangle. But what is it that I did before? I want to know. Like, what did this stupid idiot do? It's a bamboo torch because it's like the least amount that you get, and you still have a little bit of that like wavy fire smoke look to it. So yeah, really just interesting use of pieces that you could do. Anyway, that's besides the point. If you color your things black, they won't actually show up as light at night though. So you do have to be careful about that. Seems like you're building at night for this area too. These feel really bright to me. Something you could do is tone them down somehow and maybe put a light up here that shines down onto the what is it, switchback queue to make up for it. If you want to reduce your overhead for the amount of time you're spending, then you could do this and lower the light level that way. And that just feels like generally better. I notice they're a little askew too, but like you're still working on this area, so it's fine. You'll make any necessary changes you need to. But when you group lights together, you can still recolor the light portion of it. So what I like to do is group all my lights together, and then later on, if I decide something is too bright or isn't the right color, I can just adjust it like ever so slightly in that menu, but I'll have everything change for it, not just one thing. Which is something you could potentially do if you don't like the colors for this whole area, but I worry about the micro stuff way too much, to be honest. This is a nice touch, though. The lights underneath the path. I actually wouldn't have thought to do that. So, good idea. And besides that, more of this, please. This looks great. Again, I'd consider maybe toning down the fire a bit because it's a little overpowering. If you need to, you can take orange spotlights to get a better effect on all of this because fire conducts a lot of bloom off the marble. So you kind of want to be careful with that, use it tastefully. But besides that, this is Portal Universe, created by Mathis in chat. Thank you for letting me look over all this. I can tell you got a lot of stuff planned, including this insane crazy mouse coaster over the side. I hope the rest of this project goes well for you and that you end up finishing the remaining 60% you say you need. Big stretch. Thanks to me, rather. Of course, of course. I always love seeing what the community makes, and sometimes I get ideas that way that, you know, maybe I wouldn't have thought about before. I'm learning over time that this resort light is just insanely useful for most things, so... I'm going to go back to my franchise park and probably continue working on the arcade. It's got a ways to go yet.